It's the biggest milepost of the midseason for Major League Baseball. That's right, the All-Star break is nearly upon us. Today is the finale of the first half of the baseball season. The Phillies and the Rockies get together here in the Mile High City. Hi, everybody. I'm Tom McCarthy. I'll be joined in just a little bit by Matt Stairs and Greg Murphy. All right, so 1 year later, where are the Phillies? They are in a much better spot. You can look at the numbers and see that with the record, 41 wins. The Phillies didn't pick up their 41st victory until August 1st of last year. That's actually when they were getting hot for the first time in 2015. 87 home runs at this point compared to 59 last year. The pitching has been better. Even though it's just a hair better statistically, this is a younger staff that is much better than last year's older staff, and the opposition hitting .263. But you can even go through the farm system and see that the numbers are even better for the Phillies this year compared to last year. So at this point, what do we usually do? We take a look back at the top plays of the first half.
Flag down by Franco. He leaps and throws. Who says he's just a third baseman? Toward the alley in left center field. Odubel Herrera tracks it down and makes the catch. First diving stop, Howard. Galvis into foul territory, and Freddie makes a sliding catch. What a play! For third, diving stop by Franco from his backside. He throws to first. What a play by Maikel Franco! Center, and Odubel makes a diving catch. He bunts it toward third, barehanding it, throwing his Franco in time. Let's do it quickly. Here comes Dietrich. The throw to the plate is a strike, and Dietrich is out at home plate. Here's the throw to the plate by Blanco, and Lucroy is out at home plate. 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. He got it. Got him. Fastball at 95. 15 strikeouts. And now the 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. He got him. 16 strikeouts for Vince Velasquez. The 23-year-old has arrived in his first start here at Citizens Bank Park. Out toward left field, Jason Worth venturing back. Did he get over his head? He did! Blanco will score! Freddie Galvis the opposite way! And the Phillies score two here in the bottom of the 10th inning to come from behind, and they win it by a final score of 3-2. Ground ball toward third, backhanded by right, throws off balance to first, and in time! The Phillies win it on an infield single by Peter Borges. It scores Freddie Galvis, and for the second time on this homestand, the Phillies win in extra innings. In the air to right field, that one is gone! Game-winning home run for Ryan Howard! Here in the bottom of the 11th inning, the Phillies get a chance to celebrate. Ryan Howard wins it 4-3, and they are waiting for him at home plate. They do. Fly ball left field. Tagging for third is Suarez. Goodell comes running in. He's under it. Makes the catch. Here's the throw to the plate. It's in the air. He is out! Cameron Rupp hangs on! Oh, man, what a play! Cameron Rupp hangs on and takes the contact, and the ball game is over.
Well, there certainly were some great individual and collective moments from the first half of the 2016 season. The first half is almost over, but we have one more game to go. It'll be Zach Eflin today against Tyler Chatwood for the Colorado Rockies. How hot has Tommy Joseph been? Well, the ball is just jumping off his bat. He certainly has enjoyed his time here in Denver. He's back in the starting lineup for the Phils. We'll get to the lineups and first pitch from Denver when we return.
Phillies baseball is brought to you by Xfinity. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV. By Toyota. For great summer deals, visit your local Toyota dealer or buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. By Citizens Bank. The next time you have a question about money, don't keep it to yourself. Ask a citizen. And by Independence Blue Cross. Live fearless. Learn more at IVX.com.
Here at Coors Field, that is the honor bell. It was part of a stirring ceremony that took place just a few moments ago to honor those who have lost their lives in battling for the freedom of our country. And then some of the soldiers and sailors who just came back from active duty, they were unfurling the flag. The Rockies are wearing the military-style uniforms, the camouflage inside the Rocky name and the names of the players in the back, and also the caps you see Walt Weiss wearing, all to honor our military, which is such a perfect thing to do on such a beautiful day here in Denver, Colorado. The last 2 days they've had parachutists coming down, and it's been great to watch. I mean, yesterday's was a little different than today's. There are a few more in today's that came down, but it's always cool to watch. And on a crystal clear day like this, well, it was even better. The backdrop was so stunningly nice. Here's one of the parachuters who came down. They were all part of the Air Force, but they brought down flags of the other services in the United States military. There is the Marine Corps flag that came down. There was a cadet who was the last parachutist who came down from the Air Force Academy. And it's incredible to think that he had over 500 jumps already, even though he is still a cadet. at the Air Force Academy. So now we're just waiting for the Rockies to take the field so we can get the final game of this 4-game series underway. Zach Eflin's all ready to go. Finished up his warm-up tosses, back in the dugout, and he's hoping to give the Phillies a series split as they won Game 2, lost Games 1 and 3 to the Colorado Rockies. Trying to quiet this Rockies offense, which truly is a little different here than it is on the road. He's got a tough customer, though, that he's going to have to deal with, though, in the other dugout. And there is Tyler Chatwood, who is the starting pitcher for the Rockies. Little different pitcher than what he was before his second Tommy John surgery, but he is a competitor. And he just went into the dugout just a few moments ago, so that's what the delay is. Don't necessarily start 10 after the half hour like they're supposed to here in Denver. Let's take a look at the lineup for the Phils. It's brought to you by Xfinity. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV. Leading it off at center field is Odubel Herrera. Freddie Galvis, the shortstop, at second. Maikel Franco will hit third, followed by Tommy Joseph and Cody Asche. Cameron Rupp catches today. Cesar Hernandez will play second base. Tyler Goodell starts in right field for the ill Peter Borges. Now, Peter is available to pinch hit, but he's feeling under the weather, and Zach Eflin is on the mound, and they will face Tyler Chatwood, 26-year-old from Redlands, California, originally drafted by the LA Angels. The Rockies acquired him several years ago after 1 year in the big leagues with the Angels, and he's coming back, as we mentioned, from his second Tommy John surgery, which seems to be more of an occurrence. And here's the scouting report, Matt.
Yeah, he's got a good arm. He's not overpowering. You see he sits right around 91.7, 92. He will hit 93 and 94 at times. He is a 4-pitch pitcher. Now, his ERA at home is a 5.10 ERA, but on the road is tremendous. Now, his last start, he threw 2 pitches. Fastball at 68.8% and a slider at 31.2%. So he loves his fastball and he loves the slider.
He was a little worried about the slider, he said, during the offseason because it was the last pitch to come back after the Tommy John surgery this time. Time now for our Nissan keys to this afternoon's ball game.
Well, it is the last game before the All-Star break, but please don't give these at-bats away. You still approach the game. You have 1 game to go and then a 4-day vacation. And go into the All-Star break with a positive note. On the mound, from the bullpen, hitters, defensively, just finish on a good note and enjoy your All-Star break. And the reason why I say don't give these at-bats away is I was capped and give away at-bats prior to the All-Star break.
Oh, if you knew then what you know now. Yeah. Well, Odubel Herrera back in the starting lineup today. He'll lead things off. Odubel's average is at .294. He is 0 for his last 12. He has 8 strikeouts in his last 5 games. I think the batting average going down is one thing, but look how far the on-base percentage has gone down. I mean, he was over 400 a couple weeks ago, and now it's at 378. But today is a new day. It'll be Herrera, Galvis, and Franco. And Tyler Chatwood, just 6 feet tall, 185 pounds, is ready to go. First pitch is upstairs, so we're underway. It's 1 ball, no strikes.
They say at time that Chatwood's sinker runs and sinks so much that he has a hard time throwing strikes with it. A lot of times the catcher.
That one grazes off the glove of Chatwood, but Herrera was late getting out of the box, so he's thrown out. It'll go down 1-6-3.
A lot of times you'll have the catcher set right down the middle. We've talked about that with Gomez's sinker. See, they put a lot of water by home plate. These slips coming out. If he doesn't slip, it might have been close.
I would think so. So what a way. Freddie Galvis is now the batter. Galvis is having a good series. He's 6 for 12 against the Rockies. Overall, the Phillies have hit .266 in the first 3 games of this series. They have 3 home runs and 14 extra base hits. It's not too shabby, but the Rockies, now they're hitting .336. 0-1 pitch, foul tip, 0-2. Galvis is average at .231, 8 home runs, 35 runs batted in. Outside, 1-2. The Lucky McDonald Phillies home run jackpot contestant is Joe Beskowski of Hamilton, New Jersey. Phillies hit a home run in today's ball game. Then Joe will win $100. Stop by McDonald's today and enjoy the new McPick 2 for $2.50 menu. I'm loving it. Phillies as a team hitting .243, which is the 11th best in the National League. And Galvis waves at the breaking ball, and there are 2 outs. Well, he was thinking fastball, Matt, right out of the chute. He was way out in front of it.
Yeah, he was. He was attacking that, going after the fastball. Just wasn't a fastball. You know, and sometimes with that new stance, we talked about it a few times, if his timing's off, that's what happens. He wants to go after the ball really, really hard in that front foot.
There's Maikel Franco, and he swings at the first pitch. It's 0-1. Franco has 4 hits and 13 ABs in this series. He has a couple doubles. He's hit it 9 straight. Fouls it away, and he's quickly in the hole, 0-2. Highest batting average over the last 10 days. The Phillies have 2 of the 5 best in the National League or in Major League Baseball. We'll talk more about Cesar Hernandez, but his numbers have been ridiculously good. He's got a chance with a good day to finish over 300 before the All-Star break. Franco strikes out, back-to-back strikeouts for Chatwood, and that wraps up the top of the first inning. Phillies go down quietly. We'll head to the bottom of the first. Zach Eflin off his first Major League win, about to take the mound. Down quietly there half of the first. So let's take a look at the lineup that Zach Eflin will face today. It's brought to you by Xfinity. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV. It's pretty much the everyday lineup for the Rockies with Blackmon, LeMahieu, Arenado, Gonzalez, Story, and Reynolds. And then Hundley catches again today, 3rd time in this series. Brandon Barnes, who's filling in for Gerardo Parra, he'll bat 8th, and Tyler Chatwood will bat 9th. And they'll face right-hitter Zach Eflin, who is coming off the high of picking up his first Major League win his last time out. Matt, his earned run average is at 4.30, but it's somewhat deceptive because since that first start against the Blue Jays, his earned run average is 2.03. Yeah,
he's been throwing the ball very well, and what I love is his fastball location. You can see he tops out at averages right around almost 93 miles an hour. He is a 4-pitch pitcher, 10.2 pitches per inning his last start, but I really love is that, like Chatwood, his last outing, he threw a lot of fastballs and a lot of sliders.
Charlie Blackmon leads it off, and he'll take low, so it's 1 ball and no strikes. Hitting in 5 straight, 307 on the year. 2 balls and no strikes. Quickly, it's 3-0. Eflin does not generally walk too many batters. In fact, he's walking 1.2 batters per 9 innings, which is basically better than where he was in the minor leagues. But he just walked Blackman on 4 pitches. Saw how walks hurt Jared Eichhoff in last night's ball game. And now DJ LeMahieu is the batter. He's had an excellent series. He's scored 5 runs. He's 6 for 14 in the series.
Well, LeMahieu, what he does very good as a hitter is he stays on that baseball. And a lot of the base hits he's had this series have been up the middle or to right field.
First pitch is in there. It's 0-1. We showed you that graphic at the start. He has the highest batting average of anybody at home. It's just an outstanding player, as it turns out. Quick toss over to first. Well, Weiss's team has taken 2 of the first 3 games, and Blackman is a threat to run. He's already stolen a base in this series. No balls at 2 strikes.
See, even that type of swing right there, Mayhew had no interest in hitting the ball to left field. Just the way he was keeping his hands inside, close to his body, the way the barrel was going through the zone. He was trying to shoot that hole between first and second.
Yeah, it's a wide open hole right now with the Phillies looking to turn 2. Yeah, the dirt 1-2. If you wonder whether Eflin is a ground ball pitcher or not, I think the jury is still out. He's a contact pitcher. You know, his ground ball percentage is 39%. His fly ball percentage is 37%. I think today he wants to be a ground ball pitcher. Does not want to be a fly ball pitcher.
Unless they're weak fly balls.
Well, that's true.
Or straight up in the air fly balls.
Rudder goes, then stops, pitches inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Good pitch to steal on 2-2. Should be a pretty good pitch for the hitter to swing at.
Get a piece of Rupp on the way back. Plate umpire said something to him as he gave him a new baseball. Breaking ball and a called strike 3. The element of surprise. LeMahieu did not agree with it. It looked like a pretty good pitch.
See what Cameron's glove set up. It's a good pitch.
Cam brought it back, but across the play.
Front corner.
Front corner. Just down the edge of that front corner. So 1 out, and here's Arenado, who's on his way to San Diego for the All-Star game after this. Good play by Rupp, and it's 1 ball and no strikes. Phillies came to Coors Field with an ERA in a very short period of time in July of 2.80. They come into today's game in July with an ERA of 4.33. Outside and low, 2-0.
that's why you have to put some starts that you have at this ballpark. Like Eichhoff, forget about this
Has
start.
to.
Let it go. Get ready for your next start.
Popped him up. So Matt was talking about weak fly balls. Tyler Goodell comes running in and makes the catch. Turned out to be a little bit more of an adventure than I thought it was going to be off the bat. And there are 2 outs. They'll bring Carlos Gonzalez to the plate, also on his way to the All-Star game, where he will be a starter. Been a lot of changes already to the roster because of all the injuries around baseball. Gonzalez is 6th in the league at hitting at .318. Fastball runs in, 1-0. Well, it's time for our Geico quote of the day. It comes from Carlos Gonzalez, and starting in the All-Star game, they know that I don't like to be on the bench, so I always find a way to get into the starting line. He was talking the other day, you know how we were commenting how he's running better? I mean, it's noticeable. He said, well, I think it's deceptive because I'm really not that fast. He said, but I do feel like I'm moving better than I have been the last couple of years. Change up. No, fastball. Boy, that looked like he took more than 3 miles an hour off it, didn't it?
Just because of the location of the movement?
Yeah, I guess so. Blackman goes, pitches outside, throw to second base is offline. 10th steal of the season for Blackman.
Well, you get a very good jump. Camera come up with a strong throw. Even if it's on the other side of the bag, I don't think you get a chance.
Three balls and no strikes. You figure Gonzalez will have the green light here. And he takes inside ball 4. So Eflin, who had not walked a batter coming into this ball game in his last 21 innings, has walked 2 right out of the chute. On the Toyota Major League scoreboard, Washington has edged New York 3-2. Daniel Murphy, a 2-run home run. It was his 7th home run this year against the Mets. Papelbon, his 19th save. Jose Reyes hit a couple home runs in that game. How about he's tearing up his old team?
Amazing.
So the East looks like this. Washington with a comfortable 6-game lead over the Marlins and the Mets. Marlins have already won today, so those top 3 will stay. Trevor Story's the hitter. 4 for 11 in this series with 6 ribbies. Fly ball to right field. Goodell started back. Now he's in and he's under it. And despite the 2 walks, Eflin's able to get out of the first inning without any problems. 2 lefts. That's right. Those 2 guys are off to San Diego after this game. Inning here at Coors Field. Tommy Joseph about to lead it off, and yesterday Tommy Joseph was bringing the lumber. Brought to you by Yellowwood brand pressure treated pine. Pitch hit home run earlier in the series, and then a solo home run in yesterday's game.
Nice to see right there. Couple sliders inside, hitting the ball well to left field.
Well, he is 5 for 5 in this series. He's hit in 5 consecutive games, and he takes a fastball inside, and it's 1 ball and no strikes. And Murph, for Tommy Joseph, it's a chance to keep on playing, which is good because he had been struggling coming into the Atlanta Braves series.
You're right, Tom. It does seem to be that he has found his mojo again. You know, he came out when he got called up in the middle of May, came out and swung the bat very well, then went through that prolonged slump, but he seems to have broken out of it. I think it's safe to say he likes hitting here at Coors Field. You mentioned 5 for 5 as he grounds that one to second base. But, you know, when you take a look at his numbers overall, remember, he got called up in the middle of May. So his games, 45 games for Tommy Joseph before today. You look at his numbers, 11 home runs to 21 RBIs. Compare that to the leading offensive candidates for Rookie of the Year. They have twice as many games, obviously. Trevor Story here, just 21 home runs, 57 RBIs, batting 260, same as Tommy Joseph. Corey Seager, he's got the 17 home runs, a little bit higher batting average than Diaz in St. Louis as well. But if you would, you know, kind of put the numbers right across the board for Tommy Joseph, that many games, his numbers would be right there with the other candidates for Rookie of the Year at this point. So really having a very good start to the season, guys.
Well, he grounds out there, and it's nice to see because the Phillies really needed somebody over at first base to either platoon with Ryan Howard or, in this case, take the spot over and provide a boost in the middle of the lineup and sort of protect Maikel Franco a little bit. And Tommy certainly has been able to do that. 2-1. I actually think that the National League Rookie of the Year race, and who knows what's going to happen in the second half. I mean, injuries have obviously plagued a lot of players in baseball, but it could be one of the best races we've seen to see who gets that award. I mean, Diaz was not supposed to be the shortstop for the Cardinals, but Peralta got hurt. And now Peralta's not playing shortstop. Story was not supposed to be the shortstop for the Rockies. Ashe draws a walk.
Well, I think if you look at it number-wise, you know, if Story continues doing what he's doing at this ballpark, his numbers will be much better at the end of the year. Just because it's such a hitters-friendly ballpark, and Seager's hitting in L.A., which the ball doesn't carry very well at times.
I think the Phillies hope that what Tommy Joseph's been able to do over the last week will continue when we get back off this break. Here's Cameron Rupp. Cameron is 0 for his last 12. 275 with 8 home runs and 22 runs batted in. His average sits at 275. Among catchers in baseball in the National League, Rupp is 5th in average. He's 7th in home runs. And he's tied with Buster Posey of the Giants with doubles. To the upper deck, and the count holds 0-2.
Big split in Cameron Rupp's numbers. 323 hitter at home compared to 231 hitter on the road.
That is a big split. Hundley smothers it 1-2. He definitely does use the ballpark in Philly to his advantage, particularly with his opposite field pop. Cesar Hernandez on deck. I mentioned before that Chatwood is one of a growing number of players who has had 2 separate Tommy John surgeries during his life. His first one was at the age of 16 when he was a high school pitcher at Redlands High School in California. A line drive base hit for Rupp. Ashe will stop at second. And his second one came after just 1 appearance in 2014. See Rockies' career leaders in winning percentage. He's just a hair under 600.
Curtis Leskanic.
Yeah. Holmes and Leskanic were both relievers. De La Rosa, who's still on the team, and Jimenez, who's playing for the Orioles. Here's Cesar Hernandez. Anyway, there was a real nice story about Chatwood's rehab during the offseason, which detailed the Tommy John surgery. There's a growing number of players who have had 2 Tommy John surgeries in baseball. And for Chatwood, they told him his was a little easier to do because the bone in his elbow had healed so well, and it's been so long since his last one. Whereas a lot of players who have had it twice as professionals, there's not a lot of time in between the surgeries. According to a 2015 study that was done by ESPN, 11 of the 31 Tommy John surgeries in 2014 were revisions. It's kind of scary to think about that. And now Hundley out to talk. The count is 2-1 to Cesar.
Last 2 pitches, what I was mentioning earlier about his sinker, runs out of the zone. Sometimes he has a hard time controlling that sinker. Saw it with Cody Ashe. Now you've seen it with Cesar Hernandez.
Broke his bat softly to the left side. Flag down by Arenado. They get 1 at second. They do not turn the double play. His quickness over third base is remarkably good.
It would have been interesting to see if he doesn't make this play, if they have a play anywhere.
Yeah.
I know Cameron's not the quickest runner at first base, but he catches that ball behind him and watch the perfect shuffle pass. Good range. And you mentioned it. He's got a tremendous jump after every single one, left or right, because he's so light on his feet, not flat-footed.
Yeah, he moves very well. Tyler Goodell's the batter, 0 for 6 of the series, making his 42nd start. Chops it over to the right side. Reynolds got it. Flips to Chatwood covering. Side is retired. No runs for the Phillies. 1 hit and 2 men left. We'll head to the bottom of the second in a scoreless game. Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band will be bringing the River Tour to Citizens Bank Park this September. The first show, as we've told you, it's sold out, but there are tickets still available for the show on Friday, September 9th. It can be purchased by visiting Phillies.com/Springsteen. Well, those are the wildfires that are going on just outside of downtown Denver. There have been evacuations over the last couple of days. There have been structures that have been lost. According to the reports this morning, there have been 7 structures that have already been lost. I mean, look how clear you can see it from where we are here at Coors Field. 1 ball and 1 strike. In fact, yesterday, the parachutists that came in were dropped off by a Chinook helicopter that was leaving here and heading right out to aid in the fight for those wildfires. Mark Reynolds grounds out. It'll go 4-3 on the putout, second base to first. Hundley is 2 for 8 so far in the series. Fly ball left center field. Odubel.
You know, that's what we're used to seeing Zach Eflin doing right there. Was first pitch contact off his fastball. That was his 15th fastball he's thrown so far. He's only thrown 5 for strikes. So either one, he doesn't have a good control of his fastball, this ball tails back in the middle, or he's nibbling a little too much, trying to be too fine with it instead of being aggressive and getting the fly balls or you mentioned earlier the ground balls as well.
Yeah, you know, that's part of it. You know, we told you in the first inning he hadn't walked anybody in 21 innings. So was it a lack of command, or was he, as you said, nibbling? Because he walked 2. That was crazy to see him walk 2 guys.
Well, I think the Gonzalez one, he was a little. Once he got 3 out, he didn't care. But again, I mean, with Blackman, we saw the fastballs away. He was trying to nibble.
And we say 21 innings. His previous walk was an intentional walk before that. 1 ball and 1 strike to Brandon Barnes. Outside, 2-1. On the Toyota Major League scoreboard, Braves defeated the Cubs 2-0, or White Sox, excuse me. Mike Foltynewicz picked up the win. James Shields the loss. He doesn't get much run support. Foltynewicz, though, 10 strikeouts over 7 innings. Frenchie homered again, back-to-back games. Jace Peterson also homered for the Braves.
Now he's getting back in that groove with that fastball. You know, at times we say maybe he's nibbling too much. Maybe the ball is just not coming out of his hand properly, and maybe he's not trying to nibble.
Yeah, whereas against the Braves, it was coming out nicely. This is a little different offensive team, but still. To right field. It's a long run for Goodell toward the fence. It's off the fence, bobbled by Herrera. That's going to open the door for Barnes to go to third base. Off the bat, it didn't look like it was going to carry that far, but it did. Second triple of the year for Barnes.
That ball just kept on carrying and carrying. Goodell about to jump and hits the wall. I got to believe that wall right there might have saved. That would have been close to being a home run last year.
Yeah. And right there where the bobble was. Now Barnes, to his credit, really didn't slow up, so it looked like he may have been thinking about going to third anyway. So runner at third, 2 outs. Tyler Chatwood is the batter. And he bloops one over the head of Tommy Joseph down the right field line, foul. Well, 8-9 made such a big difference last night for the Rockies. And already today, the number 8 batter has a triple. Chatwood hitting 167.
Good play by Cameron. It's so important to have the trust in your catcher, knowing you get to an area where you want to try to bounce your slider or bounce your curveball. You can trust your catcher, either Cameron or Chooch, knowing that they're going to block it.
Over toward first. That is a fair ball inside the line. An RBI for Chatwood, and the Rockies take a 1-0 lead. Well, normally in the National League, you don't always have to worry about the 8-9 hole. In this series, you do. Was it a lucky hit? Maybe.
Yep. Well, yeah, you couldn't throw that ball better. Look at that, over the ridge to Tommy Joseph and right a couple inches in the fair territory.
Good thing, though, for Chatwood is he made contact. That's, you know.
Yeah.
So Barnes scores. And now Blackman is up. Ground ball, second base. Cesar Hernandez throws him out. Sounded like he broke his bat. Ball hit off the end. Rockies, though, take the lead. That guy right there, the unheralded hitter, Tyler Chatwood, makes it 1-0. Log on to Phillies.com. Go to the fan section for all the information. And please, Matt, submit your answer on the subject line. The question is, who was the last Phillies player to start an All-Star game as a designated hitter? Well, that's going to cut off everything before the 70s. Answer will be revealed in just a little bit. Top of the third inning, Zach Eflin will lead things off. Phillies fan group enjoying another day here in Denver. Saw some of them this morning as they were going through town. That's the right shirt to be wearing on a day like this. It's 100 degrees out there, Matt. Toyota Major League scoreboard, the Reds and the Marlins are finishing up the first half. Miami won at 7-3. Mike Dunn off the disabled list gets the win. Stanton hit his 20th home run. Marlins are 47-41, their best record at the break since 1997. Tell you, if they could figure out how to beat the Phillies and the Braves, they might be better suited for the second half. As Eflin, it's a one hopper to Reynolds, one out. And Odubel Herrera will be the batter. Matt, we must pause as the pitcher catches his breath.
I can't laugh. Many times I had to lead off running in from right field.
Did anybody pause for you, though?
I was leading off. I paused for myself.
That's a little farther, though, than the mound to first base. Odubel takes outside. It's 1-0.
They used to threaten me to say, well, we'll start you with a strike. Go ahead. I couldn't care.
Outside, 2-0. Odubel does have that guard on that foot. He fouled the ball off that foot the other day. Out to left center field. Blackman got a good jump. And unfortunately, he was playing that way. And he's able to track it down. 2 outs. Saturday is photo day at Citizens Bank Park, and all fans 14 and under will receive the W.B. Mason collectible truck. Access to the field begins at 5:05. Photos of your favorite Phillies player will go from 5:40 to 6:10. All part of the weekend series against the Mets. Get your tickets now by going to Phillies.com. We will be walking around with studio-driven photos of Matt Stairs that day to hand out. Freddie Galvis struck out his first time up. That's where we should get a cutout of you and carry it around. I wonder if we can get that done before Saturday.
I don't know, but I wasn't very happy. Well, you better get it done before. Yeah, I suppose you could. I always look forward to that, taking pictures and meeting fans and talking to them.
Galvis fouls it back, and it's 1-2. And a liner to right center field. That'll be in for a base hit for Galvis. Gonzalez cuts it off, and Freddie has to hold up at first.
Nice job by Freddie getting the breaking ball up this time. First at bat, he struck out one well in front of home plate. That time was up for a strike, and he line drive to right center. Nice to see him making good contact over the last 5 games, like solid contact.
Yep, that's 7 hits now in this series, and Franco shoots it the other way. Galvis will stop at second. So back-to-back hits for the Phillies with 2 outs. And here's Tommy Joseph. Tommy Joseph grounded out his first time up. Grounded out to LeMahieu, who was shading in that same spot he is right now. Oh, and 1 to Joseph. Way upstairs. 1 ball, 1 strike. Galvis went from second base to third, so he's in scoring position and 90 feet away instead of being at second base and 180 feet away. 6th stolen base of the year for Galvis.
Not a fan of that, especially with 2 strikes on a hitter. He did it last night with Franco swinging when he was hitting, and he kind of took a different approach or different swing at it.
Outside, just outside, 3-2.
And the only reason why, 2 things, the reason why I don't like it. One is that you're already in a scoring position at second base. In this ballpark, the size of it, you have good speed. 2, the hitter sees you taking off. It's a little bit of a distraction.
In the dirt, and that's ball 4, and that'll load the bases up. And Cody Ashe is coming up. Matt, you hungry?
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder where that barbecue is. Be out in left field.
Wonder if we have a runner.
As she takes way inside. Well, Murph is out and about, Matt. You can get him to put his track shoes on to go out there.
Murph's in a shade somewhere.
I'm on my break.
Having ribs. Murph, you could have used that umbrella you had in Washington here.
If that would have come in handy today. Yeah, I am. I'm hiding a little bit in the shade right now.
Well, the good thing about you is that you don't burn. We were walking back the other night. Murph was burning from the moon.
It happens.
2 balls and no strikes to Ashe. Swing and a miss. He tied him up. 2-1. Two balls, 2 strikes. The Phils down by 1 here in the top of the 3rd. A golden opportunity to maybe get something back here with Cody Ashe up. And Ashe fouls it away. Cameron Rupp is on deck. Cody finished the month of June on a positive note. The start to July has not been as positive offensively for him. Mariners lead off. Ground ball into the dugout. Look out, Daniel Descalso. That went right over his head.
Man, you got some good eyes.
Maybe over his left shoulder. Freddie Galvis was charging home as that pitch was coming in. I guess he thought that Ashe was going to swing. Popped up and out of play. Line drive, base hit it to right field. One run is in. Franco's rounding third. He'll score. Joseph goes to third. It's a two-run single for Cody Ashe. And the Phils have taken the lead here in the top of the third. Well, he kept working the inside part of the plate to him. Yeah,
and he kept on fouling off pitches, which is nice. You see up there, you're battling, you keep on fouling, and finally Chatwood makes a mistake and leaves the ball out over the plate. And you know, really, it's funny. He's locked in. He might not be getting the hits, but Cody Ashe just looks like he's in a great position right now to hit everything hard. Gets a pitch inside, does a nice job of tucking his hands in and hitting a line drive to right field.
And Steve Foster, the pitching coach, out to talk to Chatwood. Here it is.
Good swing.
Bird's eye view of that one. Should say dugout view of that one. So the Phils now with first and third. They lead it 2-1, and Cameron Rupp is the batter. He singled his last time up. Cameron the opposite way. I will say that, you know, with his natural sort of cut on even his regular fastball, one of these right-handed hitters is going to poke one out of the ballpark to right field. Whether it be Tommy Joseph or this guy right here, Cameron Rupp.
Well, if Cameron's going to hit one to right field, it's going to have to be up in the zone a little bit. Balls that are low and away, he looks like he tries to lift at times instead of going through it. And what I mean by going through it means that barrel's going through that zone as long as possible, making the contact that way. Sometimes when he hits the ball so far to right field, he does get beat a little bit, but he still has that nice short swing on a high fly ball, or on a high pitch.
And that strength has been impressive. Chatwood bearing down on Cameron Rupp, ahead 1-2. Popped it up, foul territory. Reynolds is over and out of play. Phillies in this series are 6 for 37 with runners in scoring position. Opposite way, base hit for Rupp. A run will score. Ashe stops at second. Phils have scored 3 runs in this inning. Cameron Rupp is 2 for 2. That's good because mom and dad are still here watching him play. So it's 3-1 Phillies on top.
It's also good because he's not pulling off the base, but watch how he stays through that ball. Fastball inside. Front shoulder stays tight, head down, drives it to right field.
All of this offense is coming with 2 outs after there were 2 easy outs. And Cesar takes low and in.
Give credit to Freddie Galvis for hitting the base at the right field. Franco hitting the hole at second base. Tommy Joseph, who was down on the count, worked a walk.
Cesar, last time up, hit one to the left side that was cut off by Arenado. And it turned into a fielder's choice. He's hitting .295. This run for him began when he was hitting .253. He's raised it 40 points. Arenado, as good as he is able to retire Cameron Rupp going to second base. And for the second time, Hernandez hits into a fielder's choice. But the Phillies take the lead. They're up 3-1 as we go to the bottom of the third here in Denver. Honda dealers. Hurry to your local Delval Honda dealer or visit DelvalHondaDealers.com. Buy Jefferson. Call 800-JEF now or visit jefferson.edu. And buy Chevrolet. Visit your local dealer at ChevyDealer.com. Phillies have the lead as we go to the bottom of the third on a hot day here in Denver. It's hot back home, too. Is it hot in Fredericton?
No, raining.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Matt is going to be heading back to Canada for the break, right?
Mm-hmm. 57, light rain.
57? Here's DJ LeMahieu, who struck out looking his first time up, and it's 0-1.
It would be up in the upper 87, 88 in the week.
Well, that's comfortable.
Yeah.
57, though.
It's comfortable.
It is comfortable, but it's July. Over to third, and a base hit through the hole. So LeMahieu's aboard. So leadoff single, and that'll bring Arenado to the plate with nobody out here in the bottom of the third. Later tonight, CSN's Amy Fadul hits the Philly streets for part one of her conversation with newest Eagle Rodney McLeod. He talks about the Phillies fans in the upcoming season. Watch Sportsnet Central tonight at 10 on CSN. Here's Arenado. Over to third. That could be two. There's one. Low throw handled by Hernandez, and it is two. Well, that is extremely helpful. What are they talking about? Is it Freddie making fun of his low throw, or is he telling him to get over to the right side of the infield?
You know, with those two guys, I would have no idea. But big old chopper to second base. Be interesting to see after this inning's over if Boa talks to him about how he dropped his arm a little bit instead of getting on top of that throw to second base. Maybe that's what they're talking about.
Out to the shift where Galvis sits, a one hopper. A 5-pitch third inning for Zach Eflin. No runs, one hit, and nobody left. We'll go to the fourth. Phillies up 3-1. Hahn's new Solve Chair, your office's answer to versatility and customized comfort. Delivered to you for free on one of W.B. Mason's world-famous trucks. Hahn and W.B. Mason, a pair of heavy hitters that truly deliver. That sounds like Murph's bike next week for the bike race with Matt's baseball card in the spokes.
But the speed as well. About mile 45.
Tyler Goodell leads it off here in the third. Two balls and no strikes. Goodell, his first time up, grounded out. Well, hit a one-hopper over to first base. And as he starts the top of the fourth inning, it's 3 balls and 1 strike. That one's out to left field. Here comes Barnes. He dives, and what a grab. Tyler Goodell 0 for his last 12. Was looking for a base hit, and Brandon Barnes just robbed him of that.
Yeah, very nice play. Nice timing. I like the fact that it was no hesitation. A lot of times some guys will like stutter step before they dive. Kind of reminds you of the play that Tyler Goodell made the other night.
That's very true. He didn't have to go as far as Tyler did. Eflin grounded out his first time up, and he rips one into left field, a base hit. One away, runner at first. We'll go back to the top of the order. Let's check in with Greg Murphy. Murph.
All right, thanks, guys. Well, I think I speak for everybody when I say that the team is looking forward to this all-star break, get a little time off to recharge the batteries, and then the rest of the July, well, it looks like this. The Phils will, after the all-star break, will start at home against the Mets 3 games, then 4 against the Marlins, then out on a long road trip, the Pirates, the Marlins, and 4 in Atlanta to end the month of July. And we were told today that the Phils have, kind of reset their rotation coming out of the all-star break. Hellickson will start that first game against the New York Mets, followed by Jared Eichhoff and Zach Eflin. Then Aaron Nola will pitch that first game against Miami, then Vince Velasquez after him. So that's how the rotation will look for the second half of the season. The coach is getting a chance to kind of, tinker with it a little bit, reset it, and get ready for the second part of this 2016 season, guys.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see Aaron when he comes back out, but also after this break, some of the younger guys, how they will be coming back after this break from a pitching standpoint.
Some guys love having the break, and some guys despise having the break. Odubel Herrera has been hitting the ball very well. He will like to have the all-star break. Freddie Galvis wishes it could keep on going.
I, for one, am looking forward to it.
Me too. I haven't had a break in
like 5 days, at least.
1 ball and 1 strike to Odubel.
I have a long break, 10 days. And yes, Tom, it will be warmer than 57 when I'm home.
If it's like in the 60s and sunny, that'd be nice for you. Odubel pops it foul. Matt's right, though, about Odubel. He's 0 for his last 13 in this series. His average has dropped to 293. Oof. Maybe the all-star game will also revitalize him. Being somewhere with some very special players, knowing that you're in that group, maybe it recharges your confidence a little bit. Although he hit the ball well his last time up, and he had a couple of good swings in the game on Friday night at the end. There's Freddie Galvis. The problem is he's just not finding any outfield grass right now. Popped it up. Reynolds in foul territory. 2 away. MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, delivers everything you've come to expect and more. Watch every out-of-market game live in HD and over 400 supported devices. It includes a free subscription to At Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. 2 outs. Freddie Galvis is 1 for 2. Struck out his first time up, singled and scored in the 3rd. And he whacks that one high in the air to shallow right. LeMahieu dancing back. Gonzalez running in. And Eflin is left on the base paths. No runs, 1 hit, and 1 man left. We have played 3.5. We'll move to the bottom of the 4th with the Phillies up by 2. Buy Toyota. Buy at Toyota.com to find your RAV4 today. Toyota, let's go places. Let's go Phils. Well, it's a nice day to get some water ice, maybe some ice cream. Stay as hydrated as possible. Very little humidity, which makes it a little easier. And it was gorgeous this morning, just walking around the city. Well, despite the wildfires that are going on, not too far from here, it has been a beautiful few days.
Yeah, it has.
Here in Denver. You can smell the wildfires too when you're walking around downtown over the last day or so. It wasn't that way on Friday. %% humidity. That's pretty good. Trevor Story will lead it off. It'll be Story, Reynolds, and Nick Hundley against Zach Eflin, and it's 1 ball and no strikes. Fans are getting on the home plate umpire a bit.
So is the bench.
Yeah,
he misses 1 call and all of a sudden they just explode.
Yeah. From our vantage point, it didn't look like he missed that last one. Tommy Joseph gauging where the railing is. Don't know if he saw exactly where it was. He may have been able to reach in to catch that ball.
I would agree. The top step.
Yeah. Looked like he was going to get to the spot and do it. Tom Woodring is the home plate umpire. Jerry Beals is the crew chief. He's around at 3rd. Down the right field line, it remains 1-2. Fly ball to right field. Tyler Goodell waits for it. And with one out, it'll bring Mark Reynolds to the plate. If your employees are on the road as much as the Phillies are, protect them with Independence Blue Cross. They're part of a national system of Blue Cross and Blue Shield plans that cover more than 100 million members across the country. Live fearless. Learn more at ibx.com/biz. Mark Reynolds grounded out his first time up to the left side of the infield. You know, it's interesting. We were talking today about whether Eflin is a ground ball pitcher or a fly ball pitcher, and your point of he could be a fly ball pitcher but just make them weak fly balls. That's been the case so far today. We ran the percentages for you earlier, and our percentages are, you know, from Bloomberg. Swing and a miss, 1 and 2. There are other places out there, you know, that have ways that they break it down, and they're all similar. They're all, the numbers are exactly the same when it comes to ground ball percentage, fly ball percentage, line drive percentage. He's done a nice job missing barrels here today. Mark Reynolds is down on strikes. Second strikeout for Eflin.
Yeah, getting past that first inning where he was not being able to command his fastball, he started relying on his breaking pitches. His breaking pitch has been very good today. You see right there, it's a tight slider. But I like the fact that he's getting a lot of weak fly balls because, one, he has late movement on his fastball. The two-seam fastball is running in on the left-handers. I'm sorry, on the right-handers. He's pitching inside the left-handers. You know, when you have that late movement, that's what happens, is that you get a lot of weak fly balls.
Hundley lines one down the right field line. That'll be in for an extra base hit. And Goodell makes his throw to second. It is not in time. It was nearly in time, but Hundley did a good job sliding away from Freddie Galvis. There's no emotion from Freddie as to whether he got him or not.
See here, it's a strong throw. See where Freddie receives the ball. He comes out to get it.
Oh yeah, he's there.
Nice job playing the carom right there. Actually caught a break.
Tyler made a strong throw. He was heading toward the corner, so the fact that he had to retreat back slowed it up a little bit. But Matt's right. If that went all the way to the corner, you never know here. Even though it's a catcher. Nine hitters the last 2 days. A lot of damage. 7 RBIs. 1 ball, 1 strike. 1 and 2.
It's interesting that you say that, because I wonder if it's, you know, the middle of the order with LeMay. Well, I mean, 1 through 5. Well, let's just rephrase it. 1 through 6 with the power that the Rockies have. I wonder if there's like maybe a sigh of relief saying, whew.
Could be.
I got past them without any damage. You wouldn't hope. And you continue to see pitches like that with 2 strikes.
Cameron Rupp hangs on. 2 strikeouts in the inning for Zach Eflin. So he's through 4. He's allowed 1 run on 4 hits. We'll move to the 5th with the Phillies up 3-1. .com. The New York Mets, all fans 14 and under, will receive the Galapagos Gang beach towel, compliments of Pico. That's for fans 14 and under. Tickets can be purchased right now by going to Phillies.com. So on to the 5th inning. Phillies up 3-1, and Maikel Franco, Tommy Joseph, Cody Ashley will lead it off. Franco has a base hit in this game. He's also struck out, but he's hit it 10 straight, and his average back to 265. And a line drive to left field, and that'll drop for a base hit. A couple balls in this series where outfielders have just stopped and let them bounce in front of him. You think that's because Barnes made that diving catch earlier? That one, I don't think he had the same jump. But do you think that's because they're afraid of the ball getting past them and going all the way to the wall?
No, I don't know. I mean, that's that there's a line drive where if he breaks on the point of contact, he catches that ball.
I would agree with that.
With ease.
Tommy Joseph takes low. It's 1-0. Tommy walked his last time, grounded out his first time up.
I mean, watch. Franco hits his ball to left. He freezes. He doesn't even move. He backed up a couple steps, and that hits, what, 3 shades of gray in front of him? 2 shades of gray?
I mean, it would have been a nice play coming in, but I don't know, I think I would have taken the chance. You're saying you think he could have run right through it?
Oh, I think so.
Three and 1 to Tommy Joseph.
You know, and I will say this: that's happened to me quite a few times in the outfield, and I've done the exact same thing and froze. And afterwards, the ball bounces, and I go, "Man, you idiot! You could have caught that ball."
Ball 4. Tommy Joseph draws his second walk. Phillies have the first 2 runners on to start the 5th, and Cody Ashley, a 2-run singles last time, will be the batter. Popped up toward the Phillies dugout out of play. Hundley and Arenado both gave it a look. To left field, Barnes comes in, and this time will make the catch. His throw gets past the 2 middle infielders, but easily backed up by Reynolds. One out, and Cameron Rupp, who is 2 for 2, will be the hitter. Barnes is playing left field for Gerardo Parra. Parra, by the way, the Phillies will see him the next time these 2 teams face each other, unless he's traded. But Walt Weiss was excited to see Parra go through sprinting drills the other day on Friday for the first time because of the high ankle sprain. So they expect that he'll be able to get back here relatively soon. In fact, they're hoping that at some point after the All-Star break, early after the All-Star break, he'll be back with Colorado. Parra has said that he's going stir crazy.
Probably driving everyone crazy as well.
They had a simulated game that took place today that he participated in. Outside to Rupp. Chris Rusin was throwing the simulated game, and he was one of the hitters. And then Eric Young, the first base coach, was one of the other hitters. Back toward the middle and into center field, a base hit. Franco's around third, heading for home. He'll score. Cameron Rupp with his third hit of the day, and the Phillies lead it 4-1. That's a nice way to fix an 0 for 12 slump.
Following a day off. We talked about that the other day.
Crazy.
Nice job of staying up the middle here. Really good at bats today. The 3 at bats. Solid swing, solid contact, good approach. I'm going to go back to Tommy Joseph's at bat, the walk. His last 17 games, 1 walk. He has 4 walks in the year. He's already walked twice today.
Well, he was building them up.
5 for 5 with a couple of home runs. We'll do that to pitchers.
Oh, so you think it's not his eye, it's the way they're pitching. Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Well, I think it is.
Yeah,
I think they're being very careful.
Yep. Cesar Hernandez, the batter, and Cesar needs to keep it away from Nolan Arenado. Germain is warming up in the bullpen for the Rockies.
Needs to keep it away from third and away from the label.
Pulls it on one hop, flag down by Reynolds. He'll get 1 at second. That's all they'll get. 3 fielder's choice today for Cesar Hernandez.
He's not picking up the ball very well. Versus Chatwood, you never see Cesar Hernandez get jammed that bad on fastballs on 2-0 counts. That one there was a better swing. It's a fastball inside. Still got jammed just a little bit.
Tyler Goodell 0 for 2. He's grounded out and he's lined out.
That's 3 times Cameron's been put out of second base.
But all 3 times he turns around and looks like, what's going on here? Reynolds in no man's land with LeMahieu. That ball actually came back toward the right field line. It had to come back like 4 feet. There is a breeze. But watch how he has to curl back because it really came back.
You see where he is right now. He's going in. Then all of a sudden he starts coming back. That's not his ball anyway. That's a second baseman's ball. Better angle.
Oh, 2 to Goodell. Runner goes from first. Pitches outside. Hundley doesn't make a throw. Stolen base number 6 for Cesar. Phillies work the count back full 3-2. Phillies have Eflin in the on deck circle.
Pitch number 93.
Over towards shortstop. Story backhands it awkwardly and is able to throw out Goodell. Phillies do get a run. They leave a couple in scoring position. We played 4.5. It's the Phillies 4 and the Rockies 1. Now for our Citizens Bank minor league report. We've got a combined no-hitter for the Clearwater Threshers. They defeated St. Lucie 4-0. Drew Anderson, Will Morris, and Victor Arano combined to fire the no-hitter for the Threshers. Nick Pivetta pitched well as Reading defeated Bowie 10-2. They'll head to their all-star break. Lehigh Valley lost to Buffalo. Taylor Featherston's had himself a good first half for the Iron Pigs. 2 for 4 with a couple RBIs. And Lakewood lost to West Virginia 4-1. Go to the bottom of the 5th inning, and Christian Adames will be the pinch hitter for the Rockies. Chatwood is done after 5. How many pitches did you say, Matt?
94, 93.
A little different than the starters the first 3 days for the Rockies. Went up the ladder with a 92-mile-an-hour fastball. And it remains 0-2. Well, that's pretty efficient. Aside from the 19 in the first, I guess you could say the 18 in the second, but he's rebounded after that. Pitch to contact. Cesar Hernandez, a step to his right. 1 away. Time for our timeless moment. Let's check in with Greg Murphy.
All right, thanks, Tom. It's brought to you by Coors Banquet. It was on this date, July 10th, 1979, when pinch hitter Del Unser set a major league record with his 3rd consecutive pinch hit home run. This one was a 3-run game winner for the Phils, bottom of the 9th, and they won 6-5 over San Diego at home in that game. Also in that game, not noted here, third baseman Mike Schmidt, his home run streak included his 7th home run in his last 15 at-bats, and that tied a National League record as well. A pretty impressive day for the long ball for the Phils. They get the win over San Diego.
Boy, Del Unser was such a good pinch hitter. He was a good everyday player at first, but such a good pinch hitter. Off the end of the bat, Blackman flares it towards center. That'll drop in front of Odubel. And a base hit for Charlie Blackman with 1 away. So much for Mike never having any kind of those streaks, right?
Yeah.
It was 5 straight games for Schmidt homering.
Amazing. Well, and as far as Del Unser is concerned, Lee Lacy is another pinch hitter. Matt, you can add him to your pinch hit fraternity, who had pinch hit home runs in 3 consecutive at-bats during his career as well. Incredible feat. Blackman, you have to keep an eye on him. He will stow a bag. He's already stolen one today. LeMahieu had a base hit his last time up. And it's 0-1. Foul tip, 0-2.
When you think about those three pinch hit home runs in 3 days, it's hard enough to get 3 pinch hit base hits in 3 days.
Out to right field. Tyler Goodell goes back on it and makes the catch over his shoulder. Back to first base goes Blackman. 2 outs. Speaking of Del Unser and all of the Phillies alums, Friday, August 12th, will kick off Alumni Weekend at Citizens Bank Park. It actually starts on Thursday with the Alumni Luncheon, but Friday the 12th, Jim Thome will be inducted into the Toyota Wall of Fame. That commemorative print right there will be given out to all fans. It's all part of a 3-game series. You can check out Phillies.com to see all of the festivities and what is scheduled, and also purchase your tickets. Here's Arenado. Takes a pitch for strike, 0-1. Out to left field. That one got in on the hands a little bit. Cody Ashew would be there to take care of it. And the side is retired. I think most of the guys forgot how many outs there were. But there are 3. No runs. 1 hit. 1 man left. Is riding high after being selected to Independence Blue Cross Philly of the Week is riding high after being selected to the Major League All-Star Game for the first time. Just over a year ago, Odubel was hoping to make the Phillies opening day roster. Now he has been added to a roster of the best players in all of baseball. By far the most consistent Philly at the plate this season, Herrera continues to bat around 300 with power and production. His quick ascent from the Rule 5 draft to the Midsummer Classic is brought to you by Independence Blue Cross. Live fearless. Well, Odubel Herrera is going to San Diego, and his All-Star jersey is currently on sale at the Majestic Clubhouse store, plus the T-shirt jersey as well. If you love the brown and gold the way Larry Anderson does, you want to get yourself an Odubel Herrera All-Star jersey. Supplies are limited. Go to Phillies.com or stop by the Majestic Clubhouse store. Top of the 6th inning, Zach Eflin will lead it off. Gonzalez-Germain is the new pitcher for the Rockies. He'll take over for Tyler Chatwood. Chatwood credited with 5 innings, 8 hits, and 4 runs. Germain, 5.28 ERA. Their staff overall, their numbers, their starting staff has been better over the last 2 weeks. The relievers not so much. Part of the reason why they struggled on the last homestand, struggled on the road trip.
Which I find interesting, because if you look at, the scattering part on all the pitchers. This fella here, good arm, 92, 95. The slowest throwing is Qualls. He's at 92. But I think a lot of relievers, for the Rockies and for visiting teams and starting pitchers, feel like you have to trick the hitters more in this ballpark.
Well, we were watching that simulated game today.
Yep.
Rusin was down there, quick pitching.
Quick pitching.
Eflin strikes out on a 94-mile-an-hour fastball. He gave it a good at-bat. Saw 6 pitches. One away here in the top of the 6th.
But again, that's not bad there. We get down 0-2, and then he throws him a slider, and he throws him a changeup and another slider. And they're so worried about, the home run was hit yesterday off of Jared Eichhoff. But challenge the pitchers. He got beat yesterday with his second best pitch yesterday.
I would think
which was a slider.
Yeah, I would think you would always challenge the pitchers. And after the game, Jared did say that he'd throw that pitch again, and I'm sitting there thinking, somebody will talk to him eventually about it. I think you pointed out that even yesterday that was in his swing path.
Yeah.
Stepping in the bucket.
Well, he would probably throw the slider in that situation again if it was in the right spot. Hopefully he wouldn't throw the exact same slider in the same area.
Off the end of the bat. Odubel's hip looks like it's leaking again.
Yeah, it is. But we've seen this with Odubel. We've seen him going these little things where his timing's off, his stride's bad, his front hip flies out, using upper body, not using the lower half. But he finds it pretty quick.
And a line drive to left field, that will drop in for a base hit.
And that's how usually Odubel Herrera comes out of his little hitting slump, whatever you want to call it. I will call it a slump because he's been striking out a lot more. He stays inside the baseball. and he stays close to the baseball. That's a lot better swing. It's an under controlled swing. It's an all-star swing.
That's right. Freddie Galvis is a base hit today. He's 1 for 3. Fastball 0-1.
You know, when we talk about swings and we talk about approaches, and you know, maybe he does not see the ball well here.
Who's that, Odubel?
Odubel. Maybe he doesn't like the batter's eye. There's a lot of things.
You obviously like the batter's eye here.
I did. There's only one batter's eye I didn't like. That was at Wrigley Field.
And Fenway before they put the
yeah, in Fenway before they put the
tarp down
in front of the fans.
Day games. I still think it must be a tough batter's eye at night when they have those seats filled. 1 ball, 1 strike to Galvis with the runner at first. Outside.
I used to like hitting in Cleveland, and I had good numbers there until Giambi said, "Man, do you notice that yellow line that runs down the outside the fence?" And then sure enough, I step in the batter's box, and what's the first thing I see?
See the yellow line.
And I cannot stop looking at it. I always thought San Francisco ballpark, the batter's eye wasn't big enough. I thought the stands were too close to the batter's eye.
That's interesting.
I used to stand extra close in San Francisco just so I would see more of the batter's eye.
All right, so step up, you mean? Close to the plate or close to the...
on, like, towards the plate.
Okay.
Like, literally, my toes would be over the white line.
Three and 2 with 1 out now to Galvis. Herrera is over at first. Phillies have 9 hits today. They have 9 hits, at least 9, in 15 of the last 19 games. Herrera goes, pitch is swung on and missed. Throw to second base, hesitation, and still Odubel is out. Oh, that foot must be bothering him more than we expected today, because yeah, he's limping right now. So he is thrown out, even though Hundley hesitated before firing. Strikeout, throw out, double play to end the top of the 6th. The Pennsylvania Lottery's new Mustang Instant Game. Players must be 18 or older. Please play responsibly. Buy Nissan. Shop ChooseNissan.com. And buy WB Mason. You can't go wrong when you buy right. Final day here in Denver. The Phils will head home after this, and many of the players will head to their homes, wherever that is. Here's the last play. Watch the hesitation by Hundley. Still gets him.
What was worse, the hesitation by Hundley, or the hesitation of how am I going to slide into second base?
Boy, he was discombobulated from the get-go. Must have been a
3-2 pitch.
Must have been the toe that was bothering him on that, right?
Not sure.
Popped up foul. Outside, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes to Gonzalez. Center field. And Herrera goes running back. That's 7 fly ball outs today for Zach Eflin. And he has really done a nice job making sure the baseball is off the barrel.
Yeah. Well, he's had tremendous control of his slider all day. A lot better with his fastball. Coming into this inning, he's thrown 27 sliders, 21 of them for strikes.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. He's used 4 changeups today, 3 of them for strikes. But he's been a lot better with his fastball. After starting off, what, 15 fastballs for 4 strikes.
Against the Braves, 9 innings, 6 hits, 1 run, 6 strikeouts. He walked 2 today in the first inning. He had not walked a batter in 21 innings, but he's brushed that aside. Line drive base hit into left field for Story. Cody Ashley gets to it quickly. Story speeds to second. He'll get there. So 1 out double. 20th double of the year for Story. And that'll bring Mark Reynolds to the plate. Time now for our Jeep Stump the Fans trivia quiz answer. Matt, the question is, who was the last Phil to start an All-Star game as a designated hitter?
Jimmy Rollins, Shane Victorino. I have no idea. Victorino?
Currently on the Phillies roster. Ryan Howard back in 2010. Log back on to Phillies.com to find out if you're the winner of a Phillies prize pack.
I said that name when we were off the air.
No, you didn't.
Yes, he was the first guy. I said,
No,
Brian Howard, Ibanez.
No.
He goes, well, you haven't said him yet.
I heard off the air Rollins, Ibanez. Well, first I heard Burrell. Then I heard Ibanez. Then I heard Rollins. I never heard Howard.
Jeff must have been talking to you.
Ground ball to the right side. Cesar is up with it. Throws Reynolds out. Yeah, when all else fails, blame the producer. Well, I apologize if I wasn't listening.
Tough road trip. I wanted to finish strong before the All-Star break. 1 for 4. Congratulations, Sang. I should be happy. I usually took 1 for 4s, 1 for 5s.
Hundley pops it up. Ruff is off with the mask. That's going to be back into the seats. No balls and 1 strike. third base, a fair ball down the left field line. That'll get a run home. And Hundley will get to second base with his second double of the day. And it's a 4-2 ball game.
Well, you talk about hitters that are line-to-line hitters. They literally a line-to-line. This time he hits the ball just inside the third base. As the bat before this, he hits the ball just inside of the first base line.
Third base umpire did a good job getting out of the way of that. That's Jerry Meals. Since he is behind the bag, the third base bag, if it hit him, the ball would have been live, and Hundley probably would have stayed at first base.
We would have had a first and third situation.
As Barnes fouls it back. The umpires are in front of the bag and hits them. The ball is dead. Jerry Meals, the crew chief. That was a lot closer than I thought it was initially. Foul ball. It's 0-2 to Barnes. Phillies have 4 runs on 9 hits. The Rockies 2 runs on 7 hits. Their day is almost done out in the hand-operated scoreboard. There's only one game that needs to be put up as a final, and they probably could just put it up now because it's 15-3 Minnesota over Texas.
Yeah, but they have to stay here until the game tonight's over. Arizona and San Fran.
That one's not up there. Oh, yeah, there it is.
It is. They play tonight at 8 o'clock.
All right, so they got to stay. It's going to get kind of lonely there later on.
Yeah, they have their own fireworks.
Eflin trying to get through this 6th inning. Check swing by Barnes. It's 2-2. Ryan Rayburn is out in the on-deck circle to pinch hit. Got good splits. He's stretching out a little bit here in the 6th inning. Bullpen is quiet right now for Bob McLaurin, for Pete Mackanin. 3 balls, 2 strikes to Barnes with a runner at second base. Fly ball left center field. Odubel Herrera crosses over, is under it, and the inning is over. Rockies do score 1 on the double by Hundley. He's left stranded. Eflin's done a nice job today through 6. Phillies have had some nice at-bats here today as we go to the 7th inning. Our Delaware Valley Honda Dealers game summary. Cody Ashley, a 2-run single. Cameron Rupp has a couple hits today. Zach Eflin 6 strong. He's struck out 3. He's allowed 7 hits. They chased Tyler Chatwood after 5. And as we go to the 7th, it'll be Michael Franco, Tommy Joseph, and Cody Ashley to face Adam Ottavino, who is pitching in just his 3rd game since coming off the disabled list. Phillies won game 2. Ottavino pitched in game 1. The papers on Saturday criticized Walt Weiss for not using Ottavino in game 2 when the Phillies won it. Franco whacks it foul. It's 0-1. The life of a manager. Pull a trigger, hope it works. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't.
Well, I think Pete said it great yesterday when he was talking to Murph. He says when you make the right moves, everyone loves you.
That's exactly it.
If it doesn't work out, you're the worst manager ever.
Toward the hole, surrounded by Story. One away here in the 7th. Tomorrow at 6:30, Phil's top pitching prospect, Jake Thompson, takes us inside the mind of his starters. He shows us the different pitches in his arsenal. Watch the next Phillies Clubhouse tomorrow at 6:30 here on CSN. Zach Eflin towel around his neck. Looks like he's going to be able to pitch the 7th, start the 7th at least. Keeping himself cool as can be. Crossfire must be tough sometimes to pick up particularly if you're a right-handed hitter.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I had a hard time with the lefties that crossfired. I mean, the good thing is he's not way on the 3rd base side of the rubber. Then he'd really be thrown behind you.
Roof of the dugout into the crowd like a hot potato, bouncing every which way. 2-2 to Tommy Joseph. 98 degrees. Humidity has dropped to 7%. Could he walk for a 3rd time today?
You know what it is when you face guys that sidewind is that you got to really remind yourself to keep that hip in as long as possible. You really have to trust your hands, trust your swing, because the first motion you want to do is you want to open up that front hip. You need to keep it closed and think up the middle.
Really fooled him on it. 95-mile-an-hour fastball, 2 outs. Cody Ashley's coming up. Back in the 3rd inning, Ashley delivered.
He's been swinging the bat a little better of late. Look very hitters at bat. Gets a fastball after fouling him many pitches off. There's a big 2 RBI single there.
And here comes Walt Weiss. So it's not going to be Ottavino. It's going to be Jake McGee who's going to come into the ball game. Pitching change for the Rockies. Ottavino gets the first 2 batters he faces. And now they'll go to a lefty here in the top of the 7th. Phillies up by 2. We'll be back right after this. with us. They'll be in Philadelphia for a 4-game series beginning Monday, July 18th. The last game is Star Wars night. Tickets can be purchased, and you can check out more of the information on Star Wars night by going to Phillies.com. Oh, we saw the moth. Where were we saw the moth? At home. And now the hawk, which was flying around here yesterday, is back, but not in its normal perch. It's out in center field.
Staying in the shade.
Smart bird. Jake McGee, who had some problems in game 2 of this series. 5.47 ERA, the former closer of the Colorado Rockies. .89-mile-an-hour fastball. It's a guy that used to be around 95. Remember when Jim Thome hit that walk-off home run against him, he was at 95. He gave up the pitch hit home run to Tommy Joseph the other night. Said, I should have stayed with my fastball. Gave it up on a slider.
It is interesting to see that he's throwing 90 miles an hour, where he definitely, a few years ago, he was an overpowering left-hander.
Yeah, when he was with the Rays, he was definitely closer to 95. Cody takes outside, ball 4. So McGee walks him, and now the right-handed hitting Cameron Rupp will be the batter. Cam's had a good day. He's got 3 hits this afternoon.
Yeah. First one he hit up the middle was a nice easy swing. Next one was the right field through the hole at second base for an RBI. Then his last at bat, another RBI back up the middle. So nice day, 3 for 3, couple RBIs, using the big part of the field.
He's got his average back up to 285. It's jumped 10 points with today's game.
Now get greedy.
Yeah, really. I think individually and collectively get greedy. David Hernandez is warming up in the bullpen. Cameron, despite the fact that he's hitting .324 against lefties, is behind in the count 0-2. The 0-2 pitch. Pulls it foul past Juan Samuel.
That was actually the same pitch that Tommy Joseph hit into the ballpark. Slider didn't slide, stay inside.
To center field. Blackman going back toward the wall. It is gone. Look out, Hawk. Straight away center field. Cameron Rupp, a 2-run shot, and the Phillies are on top 6-2. It's a 4-for-4 day for Cameron Rupp.
That's what we talk about, getting greedy. Get a good pitch to hit. Couple pitches earlier in the game, or earlier in the at-bat, he was a little light on the fastballs. This is a fastball supposed to be up, but it is right down the middle of the plate. Nice short stroke. Ball just carried and carried.
Sure did. Well, for Cameron Rupp, it's 9 home runs now. He has 3 ribbies today, 25 on the year.
And again, the Phillies hitters make the manager pay by bringing in a guy to the bullpen.
Yeah. Which they've done consistently since the last road trip.
Dick McGee's going to say I should have threw the slider.
I was thinking the same thing. I'm telling you, I was thinking the same thing.
Well, at least we know this won't be a fielder's choice.
3 fielder's choice today for Hernandez. All right, so what did we say the other day? Tommy Joseph's home run went 455. It was the longest home run since Cameron Rupp's homer last year in August.
That was probably 472.
465 for Rupp.
465.
So that is now the longest home run of the year, and the longest since his last one in August. That one just got away.
He's going to have a happy flight back to Texas.
Yes, he is.
Win this game. He'll still get another chance maybe to hit in the 9th.
Tommy Joseph's pointing to where his was. I think he's trying to win the argument that his was longer. Ground ball to second base. LeMahieu is up with it. Side is retired here in the 7th inning, but the Phillies tack on 2 more. Cameron Rupp is having himself a day. 465 feet off Jake McGee. Man, that's some power. Time to stretch here at Denver with the Phillies up 6-2. A career high day. 4 hits, tied his career high with 4 RBIs. Andres Blanco will take over at first base for the Phillies. And David Hernandez is the new pitcher in place of Zach Eflin, who goes 6 strong today. He allows 7 hits and 2 runs. So David Hernandez, who pitched effectively earlier in this series, will face Daniel Descalso, who was on as a pinch hitter. First pitch from Hernandez. It's outside. How about Eflin since the Blue Jays game, which was his major league debut, when he allowed 8 earned runs in 2 2/3? Counting today, he's allowed 8 earned runs in 32 2/3 innings of work. I mean, that day was certainly an aberration.
Yeah.
He's pitching. He's pitched totally in a different way than he did that day. You know, he was out over the plate a lot that day. He hasn't been in his start since.
Well, and I think a lot has to do with the way he wanted to approach hitters. You know, the big talk in Toronto was that he wants to throw a lot of fastballs inside the hitters. In the first major league start, he never threw inside the hitters. And you saw what happened. Now all of a sudden he's starting to move feet. He's pitching inside for strikes and balls. And he has a confidence in his slider right now as well.
Yep.
That helps.
3 earned runs in his last 15 innings of work, 9 strikeouts. Balls, 2 strikes to Descalso. Fly ball, shallow left center field. That's a long run for everybody, but Ashe is there, and he makes the catch. Well, let's take a look at Zach Eflin's day. Started out a little shaky.
But we talked about getting that weak ground balls and the weak fly balls. That was off a changeup. This one here is a double play, a 5-4-3 double play. Nice turn by Cesar Hernandez. But the nice thing is he locked in that slider. That one just hit the front corner. But when he needed to get that swing and miss slider, he had it in his back pocket. He threw well. And it all came off because he had good command of his fastball after the first inning.
Yeah, he's put the Phillies in position to win here and maybe pick up his 2nd major league victory. Charlie Blackmon has 1 hit today. He's 1 for 2 with a walk. And it's 0-1. Every time the Phillies retire the opposition 1-2-3, Comcast will make a contribution to Phillies charities. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Xfinity. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV. Down the right field line, that'll go foul.
Good location. That's all he could do with that pitch was either hook it foul. I guess there's no balls that hook here, so hit it foul, or jam himself by keeping it fair.
At least that's what we're sticking. That's the story we're sticking to. Little bloop out to left. Cody Ashe will put it away for the 2nd out. A.J. LeMahieu's coming up. LeMahieu today is 1 for 3. The other part of this outing today for Eflin, it was good. There's Phillies starters in this series, even though the Phillies won 1 of the 3, had allowed 16 earned runs in 16 and a third innings coming in. So the fact that he's at 2 earned runs in 6 innings, it's good. LeMahieu takes upstairs.
Well, whenever a starting pitcher can finish this outing 6+ innings and allow 2 runs in this ballpark, you'll be very happy.
Off the mask of rough. That's the only rough spot he's had today.
You would think too, after they're finished, they have a good outing and they give up a couple runs as they're walking upstairs, I think they get the big cycle. Whew, thank goodness.
They might.
Because you know it has to run through their mind when you're sitting here watching games.
I think it's only natural. I really do. You can sit there and talk yourself into it. Don't change, don't change, don't change. But
when you see guys taking inside-out swings and hitting home runs to right field, or the ball just carrying like Cameron's ball to the center field. I mean, he hit that ball well. That ball just kept on carrying and carrying. Cameron has taken a beating back there.
Opposite way, base hit for LeMahieu. So he has his second hit of the afternoon. And that will bring Nolan Arenado to the plate.
Man knows how to hit. Couldn't control the barrel. LeMahieu's first base hit came to go into left field. As you can tell, he just loves that inside-out swing up the middle to right field.
Arenado to third. To his right, Franco. And a clean throw over to second base. Hernandez with a scoreless 6th inning here this afternoon. No runs, 1 hit, and 1 man left for the Rockies as we go to the 8th. Great summer deals. Visit your local Toyota dealer or buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. Buy McDonald's. Stop by McDonald's today and enjoy the new McPick 2 for $2.50 menu. I'm loving it. And buy your local Ford stores. Well, on a day that the temperatures reach 100 degrees in downtown Denver, you got to find any way you can to cool off. Time now for a Hyundai defensive play of the game.
Well, it came earlier. Tyler Goodell hits the ball to left center. Barnes makes a very nice play, lays out. Robs Tyler Goodell of an extra base hit. I'd say it would have been a double or triple, but would have been an extra base hit. That is your Hyundai defensive play of the game, brought to you by local Hyundai dealers.
Well, here's Jason Mott, who's been a workhorse in this series for the Rockies. He is the 5th pitcher used by Colorado. Facing Goodell to begin the 8th. Two and one to Goodell. Hector Neris is loosened up in the bullpen. Andres Blanco in that double switch is in the 9 hole, so he's up next. Goodell whacks it over to short. Weird hop for Story. 2 outs. Time to get updated on what's going on around baseball. Here's Greg Murphy. Murph.
All right, thanks very much, Tom. It's our greater coverage of baseball presented by T-Mobile. Jose Quintana of the White Sox is a late add to the American League All-Star team. He is replacing the Indians' Danny Salazar. Quintana is a first-time All-Star, and he'll join his teammate Chris Sale in San Diego. And speaking of All-Stars, it appears that Clayton Kershaw will not start the second half of the season off of the disabled list. He is still dealing with that herniated disc. They were hoping he'd be back in the rotation. He's eligible to come off of the DL on Friday, but now it looks like he will stay on there and not start one of those first 5 games for the Dodgers when they come out of the All-Star break. And that is your greater coverage of baseball presented by T-Mobile.
Dodgers have a ton of prospects, and they immediately, once Kershaw went on the disabled list, went out and got Bud Norris from the Braves. They may have to make an additional move depending on how Ryu comes off the DL, and you know, whether they feel like they're still in this race in some way, shape, or form as the season moves on. It's a tough one, though, when you are without the best pitcher or one of the best pitchers in all of baseball. Andres Blanco, a double, and now Odubel Herrera will bat. Odubel had the base hit his last time up. See if he can come through again here. Can never have enough runs here in Denver.
No, that's true. You get a chance to add on.
Odubel tried to hold up. He did everything he could not to let his body twist into the strike zone. I mean, he didn't swing, but it looked like he did because his body wound up in front of the plate. ball four. So Odubel draws a walk. And that brings Freddie Galvis to the plate. Galvis is 1 for 4 in this ball game. The Phillies with 11 hits this afternoon. Not sure why you would wear a long sleeve shirt on a day like this.
Comfort.
He's probably trying to perspire a little bit so he can get some.
Well, it's a comfort thing.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yep.
Sammy's got that comfort going.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. He might have a tattoo that MLB wants you to cover up.
I think Sammy's because he's getting older, and as you get older, you get colder. No balls and 1 strike to Freddie Galvis. Freddie's laughing because he was interacting with some of the fans who are near the Phillies on deck circle on Odubel Herrera's check swing. And they're barking at him now. Outside, 2-1. And a line drive base hit it to left center field. Rounding third, heading for home is Blanco. He'll score, and the Phillies now lead it 7-2. Freddie Galvis with his 2nd hit of this ball game. And he gets an RBI as well.
You mentioned it. Keep on adding on. Nice job of Whitey getting a first pitch knocked to left field. Then all of a sudden, Herrera has the interesting walk. And Freddie Galvis with a very nice swing right there. Pick up another RBI. That is 5th game in a row of 2 hits or more.
8 hits in this series.
And 2 of the last game before we came here.
Yep. And now Franco with 1 man down. Franco has 2 hits today, 2 for 4. He's 6 for 17 in the series. That's outside. I think Nick Cunley's wanted a couple of these pitches. "15 pitches in the inning for Mott." Yeah, it's funny when you're on the other side and you're watching the other team sort of beg for pitches. You wonder what's going through their mind, because to us up here, those pitches don't look like they're strikes, but it's different vantage points. Right. It's different viewpoints, and their heart's in a different spot than, let's say, everybody that's wearing red is.
Well, I mean, when you're on the bench, you can determine if it's a height wise, and that's what a lot of people start talking about. The ball's not low; it's good height, but on the bench, they have no idea if it's a fastball inside or outside, if it's catching the corner.
That ball is crushed deep to left field. Forget about it. Onto the concourse. A 3-run home run for Maikel Franco. We may have a new leader for distance in the clubhouse. Cameron Rupp reestablished the longest home run earlier at 465. Let's wait and see where they gauge that one from Franco. The Phillies have busted it open. They lead it 10-2.
Well, I'm not going to lie. I cannot wait to see this replay. Watch this swing. That is a controlled but a powerful swing. Fastball up in the zone. Good balance. Listen to this ball.
471 feet. That's right. You can bask in the glory if you're a Philly fan after that home run.
The great slow motion. The ball's up and in, and how he tucks his hands into his body. And that's right. Bragging right.
Yep. 471 for Michael Franco. Tommy Joseph started the day with the longest home run for the Phillies this year. Cameron Rupp, back in the 7th inning, took over that mantelpiece. It lasted less than an inning. Swing and a miss by Howard. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Total of 1,391 feet between those 3 guys.
Pretty good distance.
We haven't seen Qualls this series, have we?
Have not. We've seen him warm up. That's about it.
We've seen Mott 3 times.
Yep. There was even talk the other day that Mott was going to take over the closer role, depending on how Estevez did. Howard lays off 2-2. Boone Logan warming up in the pen for the Rockies.
I think so far it's gone back to where we talked about the first key. Don't give at bats away. Guys haven't today. They've had very good approach. Schmitty's been texting me back and forth and saying how impressed he is with the at-bats today the guys are having. Hitting the ball to right field, working the ball up the middle.
Howard strikes out. That pitch on the outside part of the plate. So 2 away, and Cody Ashley will come up. And it is true, exactly what you guys are saying about their approach. It's almost as if they looked at last night where they didn't come through when they had opportunities and made some adjustments. Phillies have 13 hits and 35 at bats today. It's a .371 average. I mean, they were disappointed about last night's game because of the opportunities they had early on and the number of hits they had. They know they left some runs out on the field. I mean, a lot of that's credit to the pitcher. Ball went crashing into the dugout.
Smoked Anderson right between the numbers on the ricochet.
Outside.
So is Qualls their closer?
No. it's kind of been by committee, but Estevez has been closing for them.
So he's going to go 9 days without pitching.
Yeah, I think he's their, I don't want to say their cleanup guy, but he's like the 6th, 7th inning guy. Two balls and 2 strikes to Ashe. He pulls it toward first. Reynolds stays down on it. Phillies, though, score 4 more runs. 3 on a 470-foot home run by Maikel Franco. 471-foot home run by Maikel Franco. That's right, pump it up. The offense certainly is. It's 10-2. Phillies on top. Well, if you're not doing anything, we'd love to have you out at Citizens Bank Park for Toyota Wall of Fame night. Jim Thome will be inducted into the Wall of Fame pregame. A commemorative print will be given out to all fans. Compliments of Toyota. Tickets can be purchased anytime by going to Phillies.com. Phillies lead at 10-2. Maikel Franco hit a 471-foot home run, a 3-run shot, which is the longest home run estimated. We say estimated because there's a handful of different sites that have different ways to gauge it. Longest home run estimated since Ryan Howard hit one 470 feet in 2011. 471. Carlos Gonzalez leads it off. It's 0-1 to Gonzalez. Outside, 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, whichever one is the longest, it was fun to watch off the bat.
Loud, impressive. 3-run shot to boot.
Two is lifted in the air to deep right field. That's going to be a second deck shot, actually a third deck shot. And it's a 10-3 ball game. 19 home runs for Carlos Gonzalez.
Whew. Well, before you even see the replay, you watch where his head is, and you watch the location. That ball's crushed.
Yeah, it was. Trevor Story is the batter, and he swings through the first pitch. It's 0-1. 462 feet. We're fans like everybody else. We're sitting here waiting for the number to pop up to see how far that home run was. Carlos Gonzalez preparing for the home run derby. 0-2 to Story. Opposite way, caught by Andres Blanco. One out here in the 8th inning, and Mark Reynolds is coming up. Talk about guys that can hit a home run a long way. His home run in this series went the opposite way. Reynolds is 0 for 3 today. Tardy on that 95-mile-an-hour fastball. It's 0-1. Phillies trying to win their 42nd game before the All-Star break. It's a 13-win improvement from last year if they're able to pull it off. Team ERA is way better than last year. The walks per 9 innings. This is something Bob talked about the other day. That's down nearly 1. 1 ball, 1 strike to Reynolds.
Well, and if you go, of course, I'm going to talk about the offense and talk about the power. Look at the home runs.
Yeah, home runs.
Add 3 more today.
Right, 90 home runs compared to 59 last year at the All-Star break, which is a slugging percentage of around 400. Strange part of it, the runs per game is not much higher than last year.
Well, the total runs.
Yeah, not much higher.
No.
Larry Bowa is barking at Tom Woodring. A couple of pitches in this inning that the Phillies think they should have had. Swing and a miss. Threw him a split with the count 2-2. And there are 2 outs. Nick Hundley has 2 doubles today. I think the other part of this year compared to last year is
youth.
And where the Phillies, I mean, just the anticipation of where the Phillies will be at this point next year.
Right.
When you win 29 games for the All-Star break, you think, all right, a year from now we're going to be, I don't know. But now you have this anticipation of even greater improvement by the All-Star break next year. Hundley down the right field line. That'll slice foul. Way this is rolling along, you may see Genmar Gomez pitch the 9th inning just to get an inning of work in, even though the Phils are up by 7. Or maybe he puts Daniel Stumpf in, who's back today for the first time since that opening series against the Reds, as he had to serve Major League Baseball's 80-game suspension for testing positive. For a banned substance. Swing and a miss. He went after him with a high fastball, and back-to-back strikeouts for Hector Neris. Well, a nice way to close out the first half for Hector. He'll spend some time in Panama this week. Phillies up by 7. Want some home runs? Well, here are our precision plays brought to you by GMC.
We got Cameron at the bomb to center field for 465 feet. The Michael Franco comes up because whatever you can do, I can do 6 feet better. He crushes the bomb to left field for 471 feet. And then Cargo comes up for Colorado Rockies. His went about 465 feet.
462.
462. And the third deck. Those are your precision plays of the game, brought to you by GMC.
Well, we go to the top of the 9th inning. Phillies up 10-3. And Carlos Estevez will be the new pitcher. Estevez in his 33rd game. Mott will be credited with 1 inning and charged with 3 hits and 4 runs.
That outing won't sit well over the All-Star break.
I don't think it will. Cameron Rupp will lead it off. Rupp is 4 for 4, 3 singles and a 2-run home run, 4 RBIs, and he takes high. It's 1-0.
Throw that slider in the same spot, Cameron might hit the scoreboard.
Yeah. It was spinning. Estevez threw that one at 97 for a strike. He's hit 100 miles an hour this year. 100 mile an hour fastball, 88 mile an hour slider, 90 mile an hour changeup. Swing and a miss. 1-2. He comes out to the song Wild Thing, which was used in the movie Major League when Charlie Sheen used to come out as the closer Rick Vaughn. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Rupp. Swing and a miss. 99. So 97, 98, 99. Estevez actually got a chance to meet Charlie Sheen, whose given name is Carlos Estevez. Got a chance to meet him when the Rockies were out playing the Dodgers. He is a much larger person than Charlie Sheen, just based on the photo. Cesar Hernandez takes one inside, and it's 1-0.
This is close.
Reynolds backhands. Estevez over to cover. 3-1 on the putout. And now 2 outs. And Tyler Goodell, who's 0 for 4 today, 0 for 10 in the series. He's hit the ball each time today. His timing's off, though. He hasn't gotten a chance to play recently.
He's in the middle of the swing of trying to get that barrel off his shoulder. You see how he starts it up. He actually has it up higher now. But he has to try to get away from that little
hitch
with his hands.
He had, when he was playing more, his timing with that was a lot better.
Yeah.
Which I guess you would expect. Now it's 1-2. Phillies need to get 3 more outs. They'll get out of Denver, splitting this 4-game series, which is not too shabby.
No, it's not. Especially facing a team that hits very well in this ballpark.
There's Daniel Stump to the left, who's dropped some LBs since the Phillies last saw him. And Ramos to the right. And a swing and a foul tip 100 miles an hour. And the Phillies go down in order here in the 9th inning. On to the bottom of the 9th. Ramos will come out to try to get the last 3 outs for the Phillies. Take on today's game, plus his midseason report card heading into the All-Star break. All that and more coming up on Cure Auto Insurance presents Phillies postgame live. We'll see who Ricky's standout star was. We'll go to the bottom of the 9th inning. And Ramos will come on to try to lower that 7.71 ERA. He got roughed up here the other night. And he will face Brandon Barnes, Ryan Rayburn, who's going to be out as a pinch hitter, and then the top of the order. Steve Buchanan talked about Ramos the other day. He said, you know, the first few times up, he was just out there firing. He was not nibbling whatsoever. He said he thought the last outing he was nibbling a little bit. And as Matt, you alluded to, sometimes this place will cause you to do that.
Yeah.
He would like him to get back to where he was and just attack the strike zone. Attacks it with 94 right there. It's 0-1 to Barnes, who is 1 for 3. One ball and 2 strikes. This season began, Ramos, when thinking about the All-Star break, wasn't sure if he would be taking that break with the AA Reading Titans or the AAA Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs. But life can change quickly when you throw strikes as a relief pitcher in Major League Baseball. And it certainly has changed quickly for Ramos. One ball, 2 strikes.
Be interested to see what these couple of these young guys have never had the All-Star break.
Yeah. Out to left field. Cody Ashe over toward the line. Will it hang up there? It does. Fair ball caught right at the line. 1 away. Yeah, the All-Star break for a lot of these guys in the minor leagues is 3 days. This is 4 days. I think sometimes money will dictate what they're going to do in the All-Star break. These guys are major leaguers now, so they might have a little extra money to go home.
That's a good point.
Ryan Rayburn will pinch hit, hitting .231. He has 7 home runs. Fastball 0-1. Inside, 2-1. Charlie Blackmon's on deck. Daniel Stump is warming up in the bullpen. And it's 2-2. He's thrown a bunch of pitches to try to get these first 2 outs. The 3-2 pitch. Balls and 2 strikes to Rayburn. Zach Eflin started today. He went 6. He allowed 7 hits and 2 runs. A couple of walks, 3 strikeouts. Fly ball center field. Odubel Herrera moves in and then back. Well, let's see what Pete does. If he leaves Ramos out there or if he's going to bring Stumpf in to get the lefty. Let him get his feet wet. Looks like he's debating it with Larry Bowa, Rick Kranitz. There is Stumpf. So Blackman will be the batter. He's 1 for 3. He walked his first time up. Fastball upstairs, 1-0. And a line drive base hit it to right center field. Blackman will hold up at first. The ball gets away.
Dropped it.
Yeah.
Too many another error.
That is an error of concentration. That'll be the 8th error of the season for Odubel. He hasn't had one in a few weeks.
Just drops it on the exchange.
And DJ LeMahieu's coming up. Eight errors is an awful lot for a center fielder. They've tightened it up recently. Rayburn has 2 hits today. That pitch is inside. It spins him out of the way. It's 1-0. We joked last night that there was a pitch that was not even that close that he fell to the ground with. That was a little closer.
No closer than the one that Cesar Hernandez got thrown up and in on.
Yeah. Line drive caught by Cesar Hernandez, and the ball game is over. The first half of the season ends on a high note for the Phils as they win it 10-3 over the Rockies, and they split this 4-game series. In doing so, they hit some of the longest home runs you'll ever see the Phillies hit, including one by Cameron Rupp, who's our Chevrolet player of the game. His to straightaway center field was a 2-run shot that made it 6-2. And the Phillies kept on adding on as the afternoon went on. Maikel Franco, a 3-run bomb that went 471 feet. All that made a winner out of Zach Eflin, who picked up his 2nd major league victory. He went 6 innings. He allowed 2 earned runs and 7 hits to pick up the victory for the Phillies. Here are our W.B. Mason deliveries of the game. We'll follow Cameron Rupp around the ballpark.
Might as well because he was 4 for 5 with some really good swings today, working the big part of the field. Another RBI single off the middle. But then all of a sudden he decides to come up and he's going to add on against McGee with a fastball inside. And where's he hit it? Straight away center for a bomb.